Alrighty. Builders are continuing to get reamed in this housing market. They're having inventory sit a lot longer, and they're having to offer deals that would have been considered the deal of the century less than 6 months ago, all in an effort just to offload inventory. There's a lot of pros with going with a new build. The house is new, you have a lot less maintenance, you're typically just outside of city limits, which could be a pro or a con. But let's say you're in the market for a home, and within city limits, you can find a house that was built in the 60s or 70s that needs a little bit of work for $400,000. Or you could go just outside city limits, spend $430,000, and have a brand new house. Bigger, new technology, the whole shebang. And when interest rates were between 2.5% and 3.5%, that $30,000 jump didn't really mean that much. But now that interest rates have more than doubled in some cases, your mortgage could be as much as $1,000 more per month than it was a year ago. And so now it's making that decision to buy a new build home a lot less attractive. So let's look at two graphs. Graph number 1, this is builder sentiment. This is basically how optimistic builders are feeling about the future of the housing market. And so if you look in 2022, right here, builder sentiment has continued to decrease for 9 straight months. And as of right now, it's not looking like it's U-turning just yet. This drop is just as dramatic as when we shut down the entire country. So if we have a very similar drop to what we did back when we had a global pandemic, you know something's got to be up. Something's on the horizon. If you're looking for signs for a struggling housing market, this is a pretty strong sign. Now, builder sentiment has a direct effect on the number of permits that a builder decides to pull. If you're thinking the housing market's just going to keep going up, you're going to pull more permits and build more houses. But if you're worried that house prices are going to go down, it doesn't make any sense to build, because by the time that you complete the house, you'll probably be upside down on the house. So graph number 2. Now this graph looks at multi-family projects. So you're talking townhomes, condos, anything along those lines that typically do better in a recession, because if people can't afford a house, they're looking for a place to rent. And multifamily makes a great investment property. So the top one is housing starts. So this is them actually breaking ground. And if you look, we're starting to tick up a little bit. Now, that could be temporary, and depending on how long the permit actually took, these permits could have actually been in process all the way since the end of 2021, meaning that the permit might have been issued around here and we're just now starting to build. But a better indicator of what's to come is building permits, because this drop will have a direct effect on houses to come, because you can't have housing starts without housing permits. So if there is a drop in housing permits, then we will eventually see a drop in housing starts. Make sense? So this is a great indicator that the housing market might be coming to a small halt. There is an 80% chance by analysts right now that say the Fed will raise the federal funds rate by 75 basis points. Again, that doesn't have a direct effect on mortgage rates. A better indicator for mortgage interest rates would be the 10-year Treasury yield. But nevertheless, if the Fed is increasing the federal funds rate, it's going to be an overall contraction of the macro economy. People are going to spend less money. There's going to be less demand, and house prices will continue to fall, especially if interest rates continue to go up. And there's a slight risk for maybe an overcorrection. If house prices are already going to fall and we're continuing to increase interest rates, we might have deflation on the horizon. But that's a whole other video. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit like, hit subscribe, and I will see you next time.